Hello and welcome to another episode of FinTech Focus TV, powered by Harrington Starr, global leaders in financial technology recruitment. Head over to harringtonstar.com where you'll be able to see some of the greatest jobs in financial technology recruitment across the world. You'll also be able to find a host of insight to help you grow your brand, your team, your network and your career. You can see the latest financial technology salary survey. You'll be able to download the issue of the Financial Technologist, focusing on the appetite for disruption. And our latest Top 1% Workplace Awards will be out at the end of this year. If you work for a company that's a great place to work in financial technology, we want to hear from you. Enjoy the show, and I'll see you soon. Hello, and welcome to another episode of FinTech Focus TV with me, Toby. Today, I am very, very excited because this has been an episode I've been looking to get into the diary for quite some time, ever since I went over to the media day for IPC Systems over here in London at the London Stock Exchange right at the start of the year. And it was a day I loved, and I heard a lot about the sort of journey of IPC, a 50-year-old company who's done some amazing things within the financial technology space. And it is my absolute pleasure, joy and delight today to welcome Tim Carmody, who is the CTO of IPC, onto the show. Tim, how are you?
I'm great, Toby. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And look, you were on the stage there. We were talking a little bit beforehand about how much I enjoyed that particular day. It was an exciting time for IPC. It's an exciting year for IPC as a company as well. We've got lots to talk about, lots to cover. Within that theme, within a little bit more about innovation and the industry and how you sort of maintain that sort of position over a long time within that space. We were trying to work out beforehand how many other financial technology companies have hit the half century, and I don't think there are many, if any, that we could talk about. So it's a phenomenal achievement and one which I really want to dig into a little bit more. But Tim, before we do that, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and then also IPC as well?
Sure. So I come from an engineering background. I graduated with a bachelor's in engineering, but I've spent my entire career in the financial markets, particularly in the capital markets part of finance, both with extranet connectivity solutions, with IPC solutions. I've been about 23 years of my career have been at IPC, but that was in two stints. I started my career in the 90s at IPC. I left, I went to Radians, which became BT Radians for 10 years and ran their extranet service for North America. And then I came back to IPC about 12 years ago, and it really felt like coming home. It's a great company to work for, and I really am very proud of the longevity and the industry leadership that we still have.
You're one of the new guys now, right?
Now I'm one of the less tenured people. We do have a lot of long tenured people.
It's absolutely incredible, as I say, within that. So that's an interesting journey that you've been on and moved it through. And you came back 12 years ago. Did you come straight back into the CTO role, or is that a role you exceeded yourself into?
I exceeded into it. I came back on, we basically operate two lines of business here at IPC, our Unity or trading systems business, and then Connexus, our private cloud business. And I came in on the Connexus side, running the network engineering and the product. Basically, effectively, without the title of CTO for the network business at the time. And then about 4 years ago, when we decided to consolidate the groups together, because there's a lot more synergies between the technologies underpinning both parts of the business, I became CTO across the entire pitch and have responsibility for the product management and strategy, as well as the actual R&D and product engineering and go-to-market part of it.
Incredible. And you mentioned there that your sort of background was in engineering and through into capital markets, etc. Was a CTO always the sort of vision for you? Is that something which you grew into? And what are some of the things that you picked up for someone who's starting their career at that sort of stage to say, if you're looking for the journey through to CTO, these are some of the things to think out and look out for?
Yeah, I think the answer is I did always think CTO was ultimately what I should strive for. Having a technical background and having a passion for technology meant that I kept, sticking to what I like to do and what other people told me I was good at doing, and driving in technology. And there were some points in my career where I had an opportunity to move into more of a business role, and that would have been a higher paying and higher, position role. And I consciously did not accept those because I wanted to stick to technology and being able to not only understand the technology, but also then be able to explain it, articulate it, and get funding for it and actually see it into fruition it's a very rewarding industry. So through that, being able to move up through the ranks and do bigger and bigger projects and then take on more responsibility, it felt like the right thing to do. And then ultimately the CTO is, kind of the culmination of that.
You alluded to it a second there about the sort of two sides of IPC. Give us a sort of elevator overview of the company. I mean, look, there's a lot, after 50 years, there's not too many people who haven't heard of IPC, but for those uninitiated, give us the overview of the business.
Yeah, I mean, I think what everybody knows IPC for is the trading turret or dealer board if you're in the UK. And obviously we pioneered that. And 50 years ago, we looked at an industry problem and figured out a way to solve that problem with a new capability. And that's really the DNA of IPC, since then. But that part of the business is 50 years old. The other part of our business, and still is the industry leader in that space, as well as continued innovation in that space. But the other part of our business is the network connectivity piece of it. And that's about 30-year-old part of our business. Initially, that started out connecting trading floors together for voice communications. But for more than a dozen years, we've also been doing electronic trading connectivity solutions in that space and doing a lot of now crypto services and algo and supporting ultra low latency. So basically the way we look at it is, being industry experts in connectivity and communications, and then, solving problems for the industry, regardless of what those are, right? And that's really how IPC started, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was what really struck me about that day earlier on this year was I was fascinated and just sort of lost myself listening to you guys talking about the whole concept of innovation, and it felt very new and very fresh and very exciting, very cutting edge. And I think generally when you think of a 50-year-old business, you're not necessarily thinking of all those sort of words when you're listening to people speak. And it was and it was every single person who came to the stage was talking in a similar sort of fashion. And I was listening and watching and seeing a sort of ecosystem of providers who are coming together there to say, look, let's keep on looking at how we can make this better and be very customer driven. So coming back to that sort of 50-year theme that we're talking about here, it is very difficult to stay at the top for as long as you guys have. It's very difficult to have been positioned as an industry leader, and it's even more difficult to be thought of as fresh and innovative and doing exciting things within that. It seems that you guys are excelling at all three parts of that story. I'm really keen for you, in your words, to expand on that out a little bit and tell us a little bit about the how and the why the company remains at the top and remains as innovative it does and remains as at the peak of the industry.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I think the most important thing is you can never get complacent as an organization, and you have to always know that you're on the knife's edge of getting things sold into the industry. And really the way IPC views it is if we can continue to solve problems for our customers and provide a very stable and high quality product, then we'll keep winning deals and moving further. So what that's kind of morphed into in the last 5 or 10 years as technology's really accelerated is us being a stable platform for people to leverage for their daily needs, but then also grow on top of. And when you look at from an innovation point of view, that allows us to really do our own innovations, but also then provide incremental innovations from other people, whether they're partnerships, as you talked about, and we have a great ecosystem of partners that we leverage. Or a lot of times it's our customers themselves who are very sophisticated and do a lot of their own development for things that will drive their ability to generate alpha and stay on the cutting edge. And they want help integrating those into production, and they want it into the trade workflow, whether that's the voice trading workflow or electronic trading. So having an open concept and an open platform and leveraging APIs and driving integration is really how we keep driving forward in the industry and staying on top of, as a FinTech leader.
Yeah, I think that's a fascinating way of looking at it, and again, driven by your customers is that the right way to look at it? Be a small company or a 50-year-old Goliath. It's always got to be about listening to that need and responding to it and having them at the center of the strategy. 100%.
If you're not listening to your customers, particularly in the finance industry, then you're going to be very short-lived, right? You're not going to have any kind of longevity. And it's one thing to think, hey, I have this great product, I'm going to roll it out into industry. it's another thing to actually know that your customers are asking for that.
Yeah.
And one of the challenges with technology is there's almost too many great things you can do with technology. And it's a matter of being able to assess what is something that is actually going to provide real benefit and is a real need to a customer, as opposed to just something that is the latest trend or sounds really good, but isn't necessarily going to fundamentally move the needle on improvements. And weeding through that is a big part of what my job has become, right? It's much more around being able to assess technologies and figure out which ones are best for our customers.
Yeah, because I imagine there's lots of customers who are shaking the tin, wanting to hear about everything AI and and wanting to jump on various bandwagons with regards to data and all of the in cloud and all of the cool words we want to be talking about at various different stages. But again, I think that's the discipline, right? I think there's a very important part about the discipline of saying, right, okay, yeah, we can invest in X and Y and Z, but is it going to be something there that genuinely moves the needle? And I want to come back. Yeah, that sort of segues a little bit into I was looking on my phone earlier on. I took loads and loads of pictures of all the slides that you guys were doing. First and foremost, I thought whoever was involved in the slide deck, it was outstanding. I thought there was some really good graphics. I'm a bit of a nerd about brand and graphic and design, and I thought there's some really good stuff in all of that sort of thing. So kudos there. But moving back onto the actual content of it and what you were talking about, the thing that as we mentioned a couple of times that screamed out the page to me was collaboration and partnerships. So this isn't about us just wanting to which you can sometimes get as legacy enterprise-based businesses. You see people who are saying, right, we don't want to open the door to anyone else. We want this to be our world, and we want to make sure that we don't allow our customers to involve and invite other people into it. We want the whole share of the wallet. Yep. And I think what was very, very clear from that sort of piece is we're looking at our customers here, and we're looking to build a partnership ecosystem that allows them to have things that are tailored to their specific needs, rather than sort of saying, right, we need to do and be in charge of everything. There were some exciting businesses who I know very well who you partnered with and bought into that ecosystem, and it seemed that partnership was a very, very significant part of the message that you guys were getting to market on that particular day. When you look at partnerships and when you look at and investing and moving into those sort of businesses, and I imagine this is a big part of your role within that as well, what are you looking for in a partner, and what makes a good partner for you, your business, and your customers at the same time as well?
That's an excellent question. I mean, it's obviously that they're bringing something new to the market and new technology that solves a problem in a different way than what already exists is a big part of it.
Yeah.
But equally, there's a level of maturity, I guess, is one way to put it in the partnership, or readiness is the term I would use, that what they're bringing to market is actually real and can be deployed and can be deployed safely and can help solve the problems. And there are a lot of partners that we deal with that have great technology that are not yet ready for a full production environment, and we go through some level of incubating with them. But it's really around being able to safely bring these things to our customers and make sure that they're working in a way that is going to be supportable. And I think the worst thing you can do is just adopt something very quickly and hope it works, right? Whereas you have mission critical capital markets that you're supporting and our customers, doesn't work for that environment. So IPC is in a great position because we do have a stable platform. We have a global organization, so we can build things on top of that are incremental evolutions that don't really risk the entire environment, right? So you can bring out a transcription engine or NLP and trial it in a way that doesn't risk your entire environment or your business on a day-to-day basis. So I think that's a real big part of where IPC is now, as an open platform, is being a safe haven for the industry to adopt new technologies.
Yeah, that's a very important part of it, isn't it? I think when you talk about safety and security, it works on two ways, because it's your name above the door, right, with that too. So when you're bringing a partner into it and you're recommending it to there, it's almost more dangerous for you than it is for the customer to that sort of thing, because reputation over 50 years is hard fought. You don't want to spend 50 years building it and one bad decision breaking it at the same sort of stage. So I guess that due diligence becomes incredibly important. And when you're talking about linking with a with a partner of IPC, you've probably got that extra security there that you're dealing with someone there who's trusted and relevant and does the right exactly what what you want them to do at the same sort of time as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we think about reputational risk all the time, particularly when we're doing partnerships. And as I said before, when you evaluate partners, you're looking for a readiness and a maturity of their solution, not just something that really looks great in a demo. You want something that is going to be supportable, and that's why we do go through some level of incubation with some of the smaller providers until things are kind of really ready for prime time.
I did a magazine recently, which our financial technologist magazine, which we do 3 times a year. The last issue which we did was called Appetite for Disruption. And I feel like at the moment there is an industry that is ready to be evolved, and I've always had this thing between sort of revolution and evolution within fintech. We've had various hype cycles of revolution within financial technology, but I've always seen it much more of an evolution. When it's disruption, I think it's more about innovation, and I think those two words are very closely linked. But I see this as a gradual and progressive sort of piece, and various different reasons for people wanting to accelerate quickly. I think there is an appetite at the moment driven by an increased customer demand for excellence in terms of what they're dealing with, and a need for productivity, a need for efficiency, ever increasing cost management, and how then you can get more for less from everything you're doing. It's the perfect storm for technology to come in within a financial services arena and explode production and productivity and make it more profitable from that. And from what you were saying earlier on, a big part of your role as CTO is about making sure you're making the right decisions about this wealth of generational opportunity within technology at the moment, to say, what is it that is really going to shift the needle? I was having a chat with someone earlier on today who was saying that there's so much opportunity in their business at the moment, so many things that they want to do, so many exciting opportunities they have to improve their customers' world, that actually the most important thing is the discipline to take things on and do them right. How do you work out, and I might even extend that question a little bit further to saying, what are the things there that you think are really exciting at the moment within technology, and where the key opportunities for your customers are to leverage new tech, exciting tech, and what's the plan for you and the team to sort of really take that further forward?
Sure. Well, I think the first part of that is that you have to be open to great ideas coming from anywhere, right? It could be coming from customers, it could be coming from the wider industry, it could be coming from another vertical that has a technology that might be right for this market. A lot of times it comes internally from the engineering staff or the sales staff that has ideas on what to do. And you can't have it has to be developed here type of mentality. You have to be open to ideas coming in from all angles. But then you have to be fairly diligent about assessing those and really understanding, again, what the value proposition is, but also what the maturity of the technology is. And I made this analogy a little while ago that it's almost like if you look at watching the show Dragon's Den, or what we call Shark Tank in the US. You're going through this process of weeding out, is this ready? Is this something I want to invest in? And a lot of times it's not necessarily investing money, it's investing time and risk in it that you're thinking about. But that's almost a part of the role as a CTO nowadays, is kind of putting it through that filter and figuring out if it's something that's worthwhile and safe and secure to put into your customers. So that's a constant stream, and we operate in 2 very dynamic environments. Basically, one is the capital markets, which are changing more fundamentally every year than they ever have over the course of my career, right? And a incredibly rapid technology environment where technology's exceeding Moore's law and going even faster now. And the combination of those 2 things means that you have to really be stringent about how you assess this technology and what you bring in, right? And when you talk about what's most exciting, to me, I think there's a whole confluence of things that are happening with cloud services and elastic compute type services, and being able to do a complete set of analytics different way than you have done in the past. With the ability to have more integrated services that the trader can see, that things get easier for them to make decisions, whether it's pre-market analysis of position that they want to take, or whether it's actually executing a trade, or it's the post-trade analysis on it, and driving down TCA and everything else on that. And in particular, the confluence then becomes into AI, and how AI can really augment these trading decisions in incredibly powerful ways, right? And that's what I guess you would call traditional AI nowadays, and it's also Gen AI that's pulling in different sources and making decisions about what's important for the trader to understand, right? I don't think we're at a point in time anytime soon where you're going to be replacing human trading, because I think there's an element that can't be learned by or created by a Gen AI type environment, but you're certainly going to augment that human trader even more with powerful tools to do their job.
That to me has always been the case. Look, it's the two things working together, isn't it? There's intuitive parts of the human brain that need to work into that, but how can you make smarter, better decisions based from the technology which you mentioned there? I want to scoot back slightly to when you mentioned Shark Tank or Dragon's Den. I was listening to a dragon speak. I went to an event recently where he was talking, and one of the things I thought was really interesting is he kept on losing in his first investments. And bear with me on this, because I'll talk to you about it where I'll bring it back in a sec. But he kept on saying that he really wanted to get off the mark. He really wanted to make his first investment, and he's decided before this person came in that he was going to invest no matter what they were, and he was going to win it. And he's now said that he's got a garage at home full of dog walking treadmills. So basically, this was an idea which never got off the mark, but something which he just said he had to make the call. And I think sometimes it's a very interesting piece that people want to do something to make sure that they can justify their role as a CTO or as a innovator or as a leader or as a forward-thinking company. And it takes a lot of discipline, doesn't it, to make those right calls, not for the sake of being a thought leader or being first or having first mover advantage, but saying, what does this actually mean and where does it come into it? And I think what I think is impressive about the way you talk about it is it's pragmatic and it's disciplined, as opposed to it's not necessarily just maverick and willy-nilly in terms of how you put your thoughts and where your investment goes into it, because I guess that's anchored by the whole concept of how's this going to help our customers and really drive that further forward. It feels like a very customer-driven philosophy that you've got.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's the sole reason IPC was invented in the first place, or started up as a company in the first place. I think it's the sole reason we've existed 50 years is that understanding the focus on the customer and being able to bring things to them that work and are supportable. If you can't do that, then you won't exist. And it is this kind of comes back to hey, I think the concept of a treadmill for dog walking sounds great, but is it real? Is it something that our customers want? Will people really leverage it or not? And that's got to be part of the role. It's not and a lot of it comes back to that reputational risk concern, right? If we're hurting our reputational risk, that means our customers are having problems, and that goes against the DNA of what IPC stands for in a lot of ways.
Well, that gives you a great advantage in that. I mean, thinking about what you've just said there, and thinking about where it comes through as a business, is reputational risk when you get to the phase you're at has a lot more risk than when potentially you're a pretender in many ways, because that you haven't got that, it doesn't spread as far. It's not something there which it feels like it's moving backwards, and where 50 years becomes an industry leader becomes very much an advantage, because there is that pressure, that continued pressure to make sure you are at the forefront of doing good things and being as reputable and reliable as you've been from that. It's a gift and a curse in many ways, but I'd much rather have it as a gift than anything else from where that sits into it. Coming back to new technology a little bit, you mentioned there about the sort of the future trader and not necessarily getting disintermediated by technology, but utilizing it to be better and faster and stronger, which is where I think everything comes into this. There is a lot of fear, for want of a better expression, and threat around technology to incumbent techs at various different stages. We've seen numerous different hype cycles of new phases of banking, and that started with decentralized finance, sort of knocking on the door, which now seems to be very much embedded into traditional finance at the same sort of stage, which has been, I guess the first fintech revolution was supposed to knock out the banks, but it ended up being engulfed by it again. And that feels to me what's happening in the digital assets world. But I'm interested in your take. We spoke about it briefly beforehand about new technology and what's a threat and what's complementary. What do you see as exciting in the tech space at the moment, and what sort of really is seeing you there? And conversely, where do you see the sort of real threats coming from?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things. If you're talking about voice trading, voice communications, that the part of the market that's still largely untapped is really real-time transcription and decisions coming from that real-time transcription, right? So the transcription that happens historically for voice trading is primarily for compliance and after the fact type of reporting transcription. But there's a lot of use cases you can do for really optimizing the trader by doing real-time transcription as well, and whether that's for things like biometrics and security concerns, or whether it's being able to take something and provide it to a wider number of people across the desk in real time as it's happening, whether it's populating an order book or any of the things that you can do to make the trader's job easier. The technologies there now that you can do real-time transcription, married with asset class specific NLP, that then provides significant use cases to the trader. And it's something that we were kind of on the precipice of that happening right before COVID hit. And there was a lot of groundswell of interest from our customers then. And we partnered with some people in that area. But once COVID hit, obviously, the whole industry had to pivot to remote working in ways that they never conceived before, right? And I think it's been covered in a lot of press that everybody's disaster recovery playbook before COVID did not include people working at home, right?
Yeah.
Alternate locations and everything else. So solving that problem, and now embracing a level of hybrid working. I know a lot of the banks are bringing everybody back 5 days a week, but there's still a recognition that hybrid working is here to stay, and soft clients, mobile clients, all of that are part of it. But now there is a real push back into, okay, what else can we leverage technology for, and how can we make this better? And that is across the board in terms of pre-trade analysis and giving more informed decisions to the traders up front, and sharing that information and tying it into customer relationship management tools to really supercharge that even more. And then it's also, as the trade actually occurs, doing more things in real time with transcription analytics and NLP on top of that. And then on the back end, making it even more cost effective on these trades, right? And being the post processing and all the clearing and settling. There's a lot happening in that front. Some of which is fueled by DLT or distributed ledger technology, and some of the cool stuff that you can do with that. Some of it that's fueled by AI itself, or the concept of these data lakes, right? The other element that I think is really driving this is this whole elastic compute ability, and the ability to not only move your workflows where it makes the most sense, but continually move them or splinter them in ways that you're doing some of it in one area, some of it in another area, whether that's for sensitivity or data sovereignty or for whatever reason. Being able to support that kind of hybrid cloud environment gives a lot of power to the industry. And I think there's a lot that's still coming in the forefront of some of that. And we're working with some potential partners that are doing some pretty cool things in those areas as well.
It's an exciting time, isn't it? I genuinely feel that there's. I speak to people, all the time on the show, and our customers and everything like that. And I just feel that having done, I'm no IPC yet, but I've done 24 years nearly in the financial technology space, and I feel like this is just a time where there's so much. I don't think there's ever been quite as much opportunity and excitement and potential in the industry. We've seen a lot of change. We've seen electronification of markets. We've seen new things come in, but I just think this is generational opportunity to get things right and to make a really, really exciting future. And it's great to see a company that's been around through all of it continue to evolve and be as excited as it can be about that as well. Let's look at that. Look, I think if we look at the last 50 years of IPC, we look at the secret sauce as being, from what you've been saying today, is sort of a desire to innovate based off customer, customer listening to customers and working with customers and thinking it through, which is exactly, I think the right way to look at things. We've seen a sort of a very, very mature approach to partnerships. We've seen a very strong focus on reputation. And we've seen some really cool things that have happened in terms of how you constantly look to provide solutions to to customer issues. We'll look at rather than the next 50 years, let's look at the next year and see what comes next for IPC. What's exciting on the horizon? What should people be looking at? And what can we expect from the company in 2024 and beyond?
Sure. Yeah, we're doing a lot more. A lot of it in the next year is going to come down to trader efficiency that we spoke about, and working with partners like OpenFin that have a framework for application delivery and application data sharing and all, and really leveraging into that is a big part of what IPC is doing, and providing organically more of that data at the fingertips of the trader is a big part of what we're doing. We already do it to some extent today, but driving it even more. So being able to take applications and put them on a physical device like a turret and run them more natively and organically, or being able to have more seamless control between any of your market data environments and the trading decisions that are happening, again, organically across the bit. Being able to make it so that your phone rings when it's supposed to ring, as opposed to when you decide it's going to ring. You make a decision it's going to ring, right? Pulling all that information together and really tying it in together is a big part of what you'll see from IPC in the next 6 and 12 months.
And that's driven again, isn't it, by that sort of trinity of friction reduction, efficiency, and productivity in terms of everything that you're looking at with your thing. Okay, sorry, I cut across you. Carry on.
Yeah, and then on the on more connectivity side, we're doing a lot more things for the ultra latency environment for electronic trading. We have a product that we launched called Alpha. That's a combination of portfolio of different services that provide that for that, and we see that being an area that you're going to see a lot more use cases on. Algo trading is I guess the term may be a little bit old at this point. It's not just for a particular part of the market. There's a lot of different asset classes that benefit from some level of algorithmic and ultra latency distributed type trading. So particularly as you get more into crypto, with whatever crypto exchanges survive this whole crypto winter, and the whole decentralized finance, right? There's a lot more now that's happening that you have to be able to adapt very quickly and support. A lot of the ultra latency solutions help that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that whole world, I think, is had a necessary jolt through the crypto winter, and I think it's sort of matured the industry very rapidly, brought some necessary regulation into it, and brought it very much closer to the whole TradFi space. So we're excited to see where that goes and what that brings as well. So, Tim, look, it's been everything I hoped it would be: fascinating and energizing and enthusiastic, which is, as I say, with a business at that sort of stage, it's not necessarily what you think about when you think of a 50-year-old business. But I think you guys have done an incredible job at continually reinventing and building a business there that I think is genuinely exciting. I loved hearing it, as I said at the start of the year. I've loved hearing about it again at the moment. I'm a big fan of the company and the business, and I really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing a little bit more about that as well. Tim, if there are people who want to reach out and find out more about it, how should they get in touch with you? And who would be the best people who should be reaching out to you at the moment? Well,
we welcome any customers or prospective customers to reach out to us at any time. And the best way is more traditionally on the www.ipc.com website, or through LinkedIn, where we're also we do a lot on LinkedIn as well.
There's some good stuff that comes out of there, I can assure you of that as well. So as a voyeur of LinkedIn and seeing what you've been doing, I think there's always some great content. So Tim, look, listen, thanks again. It's been a fascinating conversation, and I love seeing what you guys are doing. Really appreciate you coming on the show, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Toby. It was a great conversation.
Likewise, and thank you all for watching. We will see you soon on another episode of FinTech Focus TV. Thanks a lot.